not to be around. I'm a man of means, by no means king of the road. I know.
Hey Guitar fam, it's Nate here, and welcome to this easy song lesson. I call it an easy song lesson because we're going to be looking at the Roger Miller tune, King of the Road, and that only uses, or it can only use 3 open chords, and I'm going to use 1 strumming pattern just to keep things easy for us. Now you can use a capo to play this song like I'm going to, but you can also use some bar chords too if you're already into bar chords. Now if you haven't yet, go to guitarfam.com and create your complimentary account. You'll be able to access the chord chart tab and the jam track for this song so you can play along, you know, be the guitar player in the band. But even better than that, every Guitar Fam member gets 1 personal private one-on-one lesson with me that's complimentary, so you can book that on the site to whenever is convenient for you. All right, you can look at this as a really easy 3-chord song at its best, but at worst you can look at this as 12 chords you need because, okay, it's in the key of B flat. So I'm going to be using a capo on capo 1, and if you do that, you can play just an A, a D, and an E. All open chords, great, right? Well, the song modulates halfway through the song and it goes up from, like, essentially you're playing in B flat here, right? Capo 1. In B flat, but it looks like we're playing an A. Eventually, halfway through the song, it modulates up a half step. So you have to either use bar chords or move your capo up a half step as you modulate, boom, to play in B. In B, you can use the same exact chords, A shape, D, and E. And if you think about it that way, it's really easy. It's just 3 chords. Now, let's put this back on the first fret, and so I can just show you how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to play through using these open chord shapes, A, D, and E. Then I'm going to move the capo up and play same shapes. I'll be going from B flat to B really, but I'm using the same A, D, and E shapes. What I'm also going to do, though, is I'm going to disperse or intersperse some bar chords. B flat, E flat, and F. Right? When it modulates, I'm going to go to a B, right? An E, and an F sharp. And so either way you want to do it is fine. If you want to use A, D, and E, I think are pretty self-explanatory, but if you want to use the bar chords, you need to get your bar set up on the 6th fret and use the E shape to play B flat, and then you leave your bar in place. Use the A shape to play an E flat, and then just use that same A shape, move it up 2 frets to play an F using the A shape. And then we're just playing a 1, 4, 5 in the key of B flat major, which is B flat major, E flat major, and F major. Now take that same geometry and apply it to moving up and starting just on a B with your bar on the 7th fret. And that'll get you through the modulation. You can just play B using the E shape, E using the A shape, and then F sharp using the A shape. So that's how you want to think about it if you're playing bar chords. Now you can think about it as playing B, E, F sharp with your bar chords, right? But it gets a little tricky when you're doing B flat because you have to end up using a couple of different chords that aren't quite so comfortable. So I would recommend doing it either the capo way or the bar chord starting off with the E shape here on the B flat. All right, so pick your poison on that. However you want to play, it's fine, capo or bar chords. And there's only 1 strumming pattern used throughout this entire song. I kind of simplified it into one of the main standard strumming patterns that we all need to know. It's just down, down, up, up, down, up. Okay, so if you haven't used this one yet, down, down, up, down, up. It's really important to get this one down. It's used a lot. So just practice that. And the way you want to practice this is you want to keep your arm going with the tempo of the song. Down, up, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And that never stops. Down, up, down, up, down, up, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And that's your grid you need to maintain. Keep this engine going and then just dig into the strings with your pick. On down, down, up, down, up. What ends up happening is you leave the first upstroke out, down, down, up, and the 3rd downstroke out, up, down. Okay, so down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So that's what you need to get down for this song. Now there is a little caveat here. It is a swung eighth note feel to this song. So instead of just going straight like I was just playing it there, it needs to go. And if you need help with your strumming, go to guitarfam.com and create your complimentary account to start going through the Strumming Doctor course. That'll really help you out a lot. And you do need a premium membership to get access to the modules that teach the swing feel in depth, very step by step. But it's worth it. You can go start for only $9.97 a month, or if you want to do a full year, it's only $97. Anyway, that's going to be something that's really important to get down. So just to kind of emphasize the difference between a straight eighth note feel, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4. So that's what you want your underlying pulse to be. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so break those things down by themselves. So make sure you can change between the A, the D, and the E. Or make sure you can make those chords at all first, right, on their own, and then switch between them, then work on the strumming pattern on its own. Okay, and then once you're feeling pretty confident with those, then start trying to put this together. Start off with no metronome or no jam track, just to see if you can, hold things together. And the key here is going to be working on the chords by themselves at first, then changing between just two adjacent chords at the same time, and then working on your strumming pattern by itself, slowly at first, and then with a metronome, then bring them together. Once you can do that, let me give you a little tip here for changing between these chords. I make my A like this. Most people, or a lot of people, make it like this, just 3 fingers in a row. When I switch my first finger and my second finger, and this a little bit easier to make in the long run. For me, it doesn't feel a squish, but what this does, if I start on an A and then move to a D, my index finger doesn't move. It stays the same. My index finger has to be tucked right in between my other 2 fingers right there for that A. So A to D doesn't move, and then to make an E, all I do is slide my index finger back 1 fret, keep it on that G string, and make an E, and then slide back up to make my A. And this index finger starts to serve kind of as an anchor point for the whole chord progression, because it never leaves the G string. It slides back for the E chord, but that's it. And that makes it way easier to switch between those chords in that progression. So let's look at this with open chords first. Just down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. The progression is just A for 1 measure, D for 1 measure, E for 1 measure, and then A for 1 measure again. So the main chord progression for the entire song is just A, D, E, A. And then you start over. So you do end up, like look at measures 4 and 5 here. You do end up with 2 measures of A together, but that's just because the phrase is starting over. So start over. Boom. And we have a stop there. We'll get to that in a second. But that's the main thing that you need to get down. You just need to get used to cycling through A, D, E, A. And then do it again. Just keeping track of where you're on the progression is another kind of the last layer on top after you've worked on the individual chords, changing between the chords, the strumming, the timing, all that stuff. Once you're feeling pretty confident with this, you can put a metronome or the jam track on and slowly start working it up to speed, because you've done so much work with the individual elements that it'll be much easier to jump into the song, kind of keep track where you are, and focus on doing everything all at the same time, which could be pretty challenging, even for a song that has this few chords and just the 1 strumming pattern with it. But let's look at the layout of the song. I like to think of this as really the verses are just made up of 1 of 2 phrases. It's either going to be the A, D, E, A, just that 4-bar phrase, or it's going to be A, D, E. And you're going to stop on that E. I'll show you what I mean. So here's the first phrase. 2 measures. As soon as you hit the E on the 1, you stop and let that measure and the whole next measure play out, and then you come back in with the same progression. A. And then this is what I will consider now the chorus of the song. And it's really, again, you're just alternating between that last progression I just did and the one that stops on the E. King of the road, 2, 3, 4, and then you back into it. So that's really it. That's all the parts of the song. You're either gonna have a measure of A, D, E, and then A, or you're gonna have a measure of A, D, stop on the E on the 1, and have kind of almost 2 full measures of rest there. You're just alternating between those. So you have your little 4-bar intro where it's just bass. Then you have verse 1, chorus 1, verse 2, chorus 2. After that, this is where we end up modulating. So you either have to bring your capo up a half step and play the exact same thing you just did as far as chord progressions. And here, the order of the song does change a little bit. So you have that first little part of the verse you just did, and then you're gonna go to what I would consider like a verse 4. Play that whole thing again. And this is a full verse this time. And then here's chorus 3. King of the road. And then you have, it changes a little bit here as far as the order of the song. It's kind of like a half verse 5, which is basically verse 1 again, but you just play through it, and this time there's no chorus, it just fades out. So ain't got no cigarettes, and it makes it through. Okay, and then it's faded out by the time you do that. Okay, and I know I was probably not sticking to that strumming pattern because I'm not great at singing and playing at the same time, but you get the idea. All right, a couple of my biggest tips for you for getting this song down quickly are to listen to the song a lot. So where you can, memorize where all the stops are, memorize where the cues are for the words, from going to one part to the other. But the other kind of aspect of the song is first learn the chords. Like make sure you can play A, D, and E, and you can go right to them. Second, make sure you can switch between any two adjacent chords. So A and a D, and then a D and a E, D, E, D, E, and then E, A. And the index finger thing for those 3 open chords will help you out a lot. The next thing is to isolate the strumming. Make sure you can do that without your hand ever stopping, keeping that constant strumming technique going. Okay, and then once you've worked on all those individual parts, start putting them together slowly. And either work it up to speed with the metronome or start trying to do it with the jam track after you've put the pieces together gradually like that. Now, if you are wanting to use bar chords with this, do the same thing, just translate it. Starting off on that B flat, index finger on the 6th fret. Okay, and then once you get to verse 1, chorus 1, verse 2, chorus 2, you modulate up, just move that bar chord up to where your index finger's on the 7th fret, and you'll be playing in the key of B. Same exact patterns relative to a new starting point, or same exact chord shapes relative to this new starting point. Now it's starting to get super tight for me, so I might do this version of the bar chord when I get up there to that F sharp. That might help a lot too. But I'll play this I'll do my best to play through this with the play along track. And I'll start off in B flat, do some open chords, then I'll do B flat this way as well. And then I'll move it during the break, which we're lucky to have a break in the song to move your capo. And then I'll do open chords there too. And then I'll do B location for my bar chords as well. All right, that's it for this one. If you have any questions at all about this song, feel free to email us support@guitarfam.com, or you can leave a comment below. And don't forget that every Guitar Fam member, whether it's complimentary or a premium member, gets one complimentary private one-on-one video lesson with me. I really love doing this because it can help you avoid any trouble spots or bad habits, and it will help you get a plan in place to have some really great success on the guitar for the next 3, 6 months to a year. Go ahead and go to guitarfam.com, create your account, and sign up. I look forward to meeting you.
Trailer for sale or rent, rooms to let 50 cents. No phone, no food, no pets. I ain't got no cigarettes, but 2 hours of pushing broom buys an 8x12 4-bedroom. I'm a man of means, by no means king of the road. A 3rd boxcar midnight train, destination Bangor, Maine. Old worn out clothes and shoes. I don't pay no union dues. I smoke old stogies I have found. Short but not too big around. I'm a man of means, by no means king of the road. I know every engineer on every train, all of their children and all of their names, every handout in every town, every lock that ain't locked when no one's around. I sing trailers for sale or rent, rooms to let 50 cents. No phone, no food, no pets. I ain't got no cigarettes, but 2 hours of pushing broom buys 8x12 4-bedroom. I'm a man of means, by no means king of the road. Trailers for sale or rent, rooms to let 50 cents. No phone, no food, no pets. I ain't got no cigarettes, but 2 hours of pushing broom.